This is episode 260 of the Fearless Launching Show. We are continuing our Launch Love Challenge series, and today the prompt is going to be one that you've likely heard before, but it is so important to alleviate any stress or overwhelm or that feeling like you've just got so many things to do on your launch. Besides that first couple of launches, you should start doing this as soon as you possibly can. Okay, so I'll see you inside. So, quick question for you. I always like to start with a quick question. Do you repurpose your content? I mean, actually, a better question is, how long have you been creating content for a blog, for a podcast, for a YouTube channel, whatever it is? How long have you, I was wondering where my microphone was. How long have you been creating content? If it's been for more than 1 year, well, you, my friend, can repurpose. And that is the prompt for today's Launch Love Challenge. So instead of, I think that we've all heard this because it's not like a new concept. Repurpose your content. Yes, that's great. It means you can deepen a point that you were making in a blog post by adding a video, by adding a download, by adding a podcast. But here's why it's so important for your launches. To repurpose emails that you used on a last launch, to repurpose and reuse, maybe not just cut and copy, but reuse, say, graphics you created, or at least as a starting point. Reuse a webinar. If you do a webinar during a launch, reuse, think about all the things you can reuse or that you created even just for your last launch that you can use again. And now I want to take that a step further. You could also use promotional content like interviews that you did during a last launch. I remember years ago, there's a woman who, she has an amazing business still. And she came to me, we had a launch intensive session, and we were just talking about all the places she had already guest posted, guest interviewed, been on podcasts, all of that, okay? And we talked about, why don't we just reuse that? You get to plant it as the promotion for, it's a great way to lead up to your launch. You can schedule it in various places. Most likely, if you haven't launched for a little bit, and even if you have, you get to share your stuff over and over and over again. Even the stuff that exists on somebody else's podcast. And they're going to love it too, because it's going to bring more eyes to their podcast, to their site, to whatever you're sending it to. Okay? So here's what I want you to do today. Okay? And this is something that once you do this once for a specific product or a launch, you won't have to do it. It won't take you so long, but the first time, I'm not going to lie, it's going to take you maybe a little bit of time if you've been at it for 1, 2+ years. So I'm reading off of this thing. Okay, so go back and I want you to do an inventory. Really just look through all of the content you've ever created. And this might look like you going into WordPress, searching for the keyword or a keyword phrase to see what posts come up about the topic. Now I want you to pick things that are directly related to your upcoming launch. So here's an example. And I don't think that those posts have been shared yet as of this, but maybe they have. I went into, when the B-School thing came up, the B-School launch came up, I went back into my history and I said, okay, what's going on? I know I have B-School posts. So I went in, searched for B-School, found all my B-School posts, updated all my B-School posts, updated all my links, because I know that people are searching for B-School. And if they search for B-School and they find my posts, then they're going to potentially click on links in those posts. So I didn't want to miss that opportunity. Even though I'm not sharing them a ton, I'm aware that Google has a way of showing people things that you don't actually expect them to. And I know that from a past move that my website might have some issues with missing images. So I went in, I found those, I updated them, and then I got back out. But you can do this by just simply saying, okay, here's my program. What are the main top performing posts on my site that relate to this? Okay. And then I want you to also just look for any videos, any audios, any interviews you've done, Also look for those, okay? And I want you to just pick 3 things at first that you can repurpose, that you can create a new format or media for, a new version of the content to add to it. Maybe your blog post actually becomes an Instagram image in a post. Maybe a video becomes a blog post. Or maybe you add the video to the blog post and also plug it up on YouTube. Maybe a podcast gets added to a blog post, but it actually originally came from a Facebook Live. Yes, you are allowed to do this. Content is content. And if it was valuable to the people that you shared it with, and you can see that it was, even content that didn't have as much reach, this is a great opportunity to get that in front of people's eyes. Okay, so that's what I want you to do today. I want you to just do an inventory of all the content you've created, whether you created it for your own site, for your own products, for your own launches, or you were in front of somebody else's audience and did it. And then I want you to pick 3 things that you can repurpose and use leading up and share leading up to your next launch. Okay, that's it for today. That was easy, right? It's going to take a little bit. I'm sorry, but it will totally be worth it. All right, so if you want the Launch Love Challenge guidebook, make sure to click on the description. It's in there. You can just grab that. We'll send it to you right away. And then I'll see you in the next video. Take care and have a great day. All right, thank you again for listening to this very special series and challenge month of the Fearless Launching Show. If you want to check us out on video, well, head on over to Instagram, follow me at AnnSamoilov, and you can also find the link directly to this intro video in the show notes below. And one more thing, if you want that challenge guide all you have to do is go down to those show notes, click the link, and it's yours. And then you can work along with us, work ahead if you want, but regardless, you'll have that guidebook in your hot little hands. It's a workbook / guidebook. So there are spaces to do some work in it, and I think you'll love it, especially if you love having something to do every single day. I can only push you so much. So if you feel like you need another medium and another format to really dig into the work that I'm going to be sharing with you over this month, make sure to go to the show notes, click on the launch guide link, and download that. Otherwise, I'll see you in that next episode and get ready for some more Launch Love challenges.